Buenos dias y bon dia. I'm here to share with you our amazing Camino experience, walking the Portuguese way from Porto to all the way to Santiago de Compostela with my 73-year-old parents. Now, this was an amazing journey, and I can't wait to share every little bit with you guys. We did a lot of preparation beforehand. We normally do walk and hike a lot, so we did a bit more hiking, a bit more mountain climbing. Trying to get the right shoes was super important. The last time we did the Camino was 7 years ago, and my feet failed me miserably. Lots of blisters, twisted ankle, and I definitely didn't want to repeat that experience. So I put a lot more preparation into this time, and luckily it all went really, really great. We finished the walk in 9 days. We did 271 kilometers in total, and the whole experience was absolutely amazing. I planned everything myself. Originally, I was going to use a company like we did 7 years ago to transport our luggage and to book our hotels for us. But last time we weren't really happy with the constriction of time that you had to drop off your luggage by 8 o'clock. Everything was kind of set for us where we needed to sleep, where we needed to eat. Some of the hotels were not that nice. So I decided to kind of take matters into my own hands. First, I tried to go with another company. They quoted me like some insane price, like 16,000 euros for a 10-day trip. A car would have been on hand all the time to help us out, which really wasn't necessary. And they were going to book us like 4 or 5 star hotels, which would have been nice. But I realized that I can do this all myself and book it all myself, which I ended up doing for a fraction, small fraction of the price. On During the Camino, I was able to book like 4 star hotels for like 95 euros on average per night, and they were really nice accommodations. So I think that was definitely the way to go. And because I live in Gibraltar, I decided to drive there. I took my own car. And what we did each day is we would drive to the next destination. From there, we would take a taxi back about 20, 25 kilometers, wherever we wanted to start our walk from, walk to the hotel, spend the night. The next day, walk forward, take a taxi back. So in each accommodation, we would have more or less 2 nights. So it really worked out well. We always had the car handy. So if we wanted to go shopping or exploring somewhere after the Camino, we always had that on hand. And it was really well, I just organized it super well, and it cost nothing compared to what it would have cost with the transport companies and someone else booking the accommodations for us. It was also nice to have the freedom to eat wherever you want, or sometimes we would just have lunch and skip dinner altogether. So it wasn't that dinner is paid for and you have to go and eat at 8 o'clock at night, which was probably a bit too late for us anyway. So this worked out great. I did get some slack from family and friends that were not carrying our own backpacks and that were not staying in the albergues. And yeah, I can understand that that should be how the true spiritual experience of the Camino is. But we're not really doing this for religious reasons. We are doing this because we love to walk and we just love the whole experience. And also, with the albergues, I'm not going to take my 73-year-old parents and shove them up on the bunk beds at night. It's really important that you get good sleep on the Camino so that you are rested and you can keep going the next day and have energy and everything. And I think, staying in nicer accommodations really helped with that, especially when you're changing every night, every other night. You're sleeping in a new place. The fact that you can sleep and stay in nice places helps you rest and you have more energy for the next day. So I thought that was really important. And it was, I think, a really good decision for us. So let's get started on this amazing journey. And here is everything that happened to us day by day. And I hope that our journey will perhaps entice you to do your own Camino. You don't have to start with a long Camino like we did this time. You can start with a shorter one from Saria. The main thing is that you do 100 kilometers to get your Compostela. So let's get started. We have arrived in Porto officially, and we are just about to start our first day on the Camino. We are going to be walking to the cathedral where the Camino officially starts in Porto, and we're going to try to do about 20 kilometers today because we did a lot of driving. We did almost 5 hours of driving from Badajoz, and we'll be walking for as long as we can. This is my father. Say hello. Hi. He's 73 years old, super fit guy. I'm 53 and my mother is also 73 and she's hiding in the bathroom, but I will show her to you guys. Say hello. Yeah. I'm not allowed to say her age. My mother is not 73, okay? Scrap that, erase it. Look at the nice henna tattoo I got yesterday. You should see it. It's like all over my pillow, my pillowcase, the towels. It's all over everything. So I'm going to be filming some nice, beautiful sights for you guys today. The weather is gorgeous and we are ready to walk. Camino, here we come. Yes! We left Porto and walked along the river, which was absolutely beautiful, all the way to the Atlantic Sea, which was really rough and rugged today, but really beautiful to see. Okay, you guys didn't get to see my mama before. Here she is. Say hello. Hi. Hello. We just reached the Atlantic Ocean, and we've been walking for about 3 hours from Porto, right?
That's right.
Are you tired?
No.
No. It's looking good, eh? Look at how rough the sea is. I wanted to swim today, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And we continue to walk along the sea the ocean, for about almost 20 kilometers. And then things started getting a little bit industrial and we had to cross a big bridge. And we really wanted to get to Villa do Conde, which was still quite a ways away, and we knew we weren't able to do it all today. So we decided to take a taxi, and we ended up in Villa do Conde, and we wanted to see this beautiful city. And now what we're gonna do, so we still want to walk a little bit more. We'll walk another hour or so. So we're gonna start walking back. We're gonna be doing the Camino backwards, back towards Porto. So we'll probably do about 25-30 kilometers a day. But once it starts getting dark, we're gonna catch a taxi back to Porto. So the taxi from where we stopped, like the edge of Porto to Conde, Villa do Conde, was about 30 euros. So if you wanted to skip this part, keep in mind because they go on the highway, so it does get quite expensive. But we will start walking back along the sea. I'll film some there, and then we'll catch a taxi back. It was a beautiful day, beautiful sunny day. We haven't seen a lot of peregrinos, and we haven't seen a lot of signs for the Camino, which was a little bit confusing, especially for my father. He found that quite disturbing. Also, Sunday is probably not the best way to start from Porto if you want like the real authentic Camino experience, because Sunday, especially on a beautiful day like today, was packed. So the paseo along the ocean was just full of people and bikes and children. So you don't really feel like a peregrino. You don't feel like that at all. You just kind of feel like you're strolling along with your family on a busy Sunday afternoon. So it's a really different experience. So Sunday might not be the best day to start, or maybe you want to start a little bit further up the coast and skip Porto altogether. Although it is beautiful, it's just not that Camino kind of experience that you might want to start with on your first day. So if there's anything exciting going on today, I will still film that for you guys, and then we'll check in tomorrow for day number 2 of the Camino de Portuguese. Here's a recap of our second day of the Camino de Santiago, the Portuguese Way. We woke up in our beautiful hotel in Porto, and we jumped in the car and we got on the highway and we drove about 50 kilometers to Ofir. We are staying in Ofir, up the coast. So we actually went past the point of where we finished walking yesterday. We tried to check into our hotel, but they wouldn't let us. It was still too early. We haven't even had breakfast yet or anything. So we just dropped our luggage off. We asked for a taxi, and we took a taxi back to Povo de Varzim. Yes, I'm cheating. I have to write these. I can't remember all these different towns and villages, and they have these long, complicated Portuguese names. So we took a taxi back. It cost us about 30 euros. And they dropped us off in this beautiful little town. Well, it wasn't even that small. It was quite big, near the casino, on the beach. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful waves. And it was a really nice, cool morning with a nice breeze from the ocean. And we decided that we're gonna try to find some breakfast because we don't know what's gonna be on the way, what we're gonna find along the way. So we found like a little bar, and there was some sun there. It was right on the beach. Ferrari bar it was called. And we tried to have some breakfast. I'm normally on a keto diet, so I eat a meat-based diet, and it's very, very difficult when you're on the Camino. The only options for breakfast, there was no eggs or bacon or anything like that. The only options were sandwiches, and there was pizza. So we ordered pizza and a couple of sandwiches, and sometimes when you're on the Camino, you just have to throw the whole diet thing out the window. I did have a nice keto meal last night at the hotel with the black pork, which was absolutely delightful. I loved it. But today we started with a high carb breakfast, and it's very good that we had a good breakfast, because after that, for the rest of the day, there was really nowhere else to eat. So we started walking along the coast, and there were beautiful boardwalks everywhere. So most of the Camino, the first couple of hours of the Camino, was on boardwalks. And like I said, there was this beautiful breeze from the sea, which was nice. There were also other peregrinos walking with us.
What I found on this Camino, there's not as much social interaction as on the other one that we walked 7 years ago, the last stretch from Saudi, I believe. And there we met a lot of people, we made a lot of friends. And here I see a lot of women that are walking on their own. There are some couples and a couple of like ladies together, lady friends together, but you know, people say bon camino, but then nobody really stops to talk to you. We did stop and talk to a Dutch lady today, and she was really lovely. She told us also that her brother will be doing the Camino on a bike, and his wife had a stroke, and he's going to be carrying her on the bike, so that's going to be quite a feat, and she'll be meeting up with him later on. So there was a lot of walking on boardwalks, very pretty. Then we walked like among the fields, which was also really beautiful. Farms everywhere. We walked through some beautiful forests. We walked on a lot of cobblestones, which is very difficult to walk on, especially in the long term. They warned us about this, so we knew this was coming. The cobblestones were coming sooner or later. I'm still walking in my sandals, in my hiking Skechers sandals, and I'm still good for no problem at all with blisters on my feet. So I'm very happy about that, because the blisters really ruined my first Camino 7 years ago. Blisters and a twisted ankle, that didn't help either. So I was really trying to prepare my feet the best way possible, with the best shoes possible. I also got the tip to put either Vaseline or Vicks Vapor Rub on my feet before leaving each morning, so I definitely did that, and I think that is also helping. I think the only issue that I had with the sandals, they say to put socks on, which I didn't, because I just don't like it when my feet get really sweaty. So you know, when a bit of sand gets into your sandals, then you get a bit of friction, and that's not really a good thing. So today we walked in total over 30,000 steps again today, about 22 kilometers, although my father's phone will probably say 24 kilometers. There's always like big discrepancies, so we don't know exactly how many kilometers, but we walked a lot and we're tired. And we arrived at the hotel. This is the Ophir Axis Hotels, Ophir Beach Hotel. Spectacular views, absolutely beautiful views. The hotel is a bit dated and the staff not very friendly at all, so they wouldn't let us check in earlier, and we tried to check in at 3, and there was like a bus that just came in, a bus of peregrinos, and they were all checking in, so it was like 100 people in front of us. So we said, okay, we'll just go have some lunch, because we haven't had anything since this morning. So at the bar they tell us the lunch is upstairs on the 3rd floor, but the lift wasn't working, so it was, you know, more stairs. We go up to the restaurant, and the restaurant closed at 3. They said there's still food in the bar, so we went down to the bar. No food there either. So I told my parents to sit down. They were very tired, and I went out to look around the beach and saw there's some restaurants and bars there. Same story, they all closed. They stopped serving food at 3. Other places are not open because it's Monday, so keep this in mind. And then others are just bars where you can pretty much get a sandwich, a toast, and that's about it. So on our walk today, it was really good that we had our breakfast, you know, back in Povoa de Varzim, because there was nothing after that. And at one point I ran out of water. I drank my water because I knew we were coming up to this little town, but we went through the whole town without seeing anything. There were no shops, no restaurants, no bars, there was nothing. There was a house where it said you can ring the doorbell if you want some water, which I didn't do, I should have done. And then there was a little fountain, and I filled up my water bottle and I tried it. It was terrible tap water, so I just dumped it. But then I had like no water for the last 2 hours, which wasn't very smart. So keep that in mind if you're walking this section. There's not a lot there. It's almost October. Excuse me. It's the end of September. It's almost October. There are not a lot of things open. We didn't really see anything. The Dutch lady that we spoke to, she was also very hungry. She was hoping to stop in that village. She had already walked almost 30 kilometers by that point, and she was starving, and there was nothing at all open. So then by the time she would make it to this village where we are now, she's gonna have the same problem. There's nothing open and there's nothing to find. So keep this in mind. Pack sandwiches, fruit, whatever you need. Make sure you have enough water with you. You know, even though you see on the map that you're passing through places, it doesn't really mean that you're going to find anything open or anything will be on the Camino. There might be things if you go off the Camino, but maybe you have to do a half an hour this way or that way, or an hour to actually find something. So that's a really important thing to consider. What they told us at the reception today is that, you know, because I have the car, to just drive into a bigger town and hopefully we can find food there. So yeah, today it was a beautiful day. I definitely felt more tired, less energy than yesterday. So I'm sure it starts accumulating as you keep walking along. And tomorrow, what we're gonna do, we're staying 2 nights at this hotel. We're gonna start walking forward, so going north, and we'll walk for as long as possible. I think the next town, I can't remember what it is. I'll have to remind myself tomorrow to write it down. The next town that we're heading to is about, I think, 23.5 kilometers away, which, you know, these numbers, when you see them, or even on Google when they tell you, they're never accurate. So even today was supposed to be like 17 and a half, and it ended up being like 22 or even 24 if you look at my dad's phone. So there's big discrepancies. So if you mentally prepare yourself for like 17 kilometers, just know that it can be like, you know, 4 or 5 kilometers more. It'll never be less, it can easily be more. And when we walked the Camino the first time, the same thing happened. So the tour group that we were going through, they gave us our itinerary and told us each day how much we would be walking, and it was completely wrong every single day. So just prepare mentally for that, because it's really difficult when you have a certain amount of kilometers in your mind and you think, okay, then if I'll make it there by like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It's not going to happen like that. It's always going to take longer, and you do need to take breaks. You need to relax a little bit. One thing that kind of disappointed me today, I was really hoping to have a nice dip in the ocean, but the ocean is really rough everywhere. It's like a surfer's paradise. So even though my plan was to have my bathing suit on and jump in the sea and then keep walking, I don't see that that's going to happen. The sea is super rough. So if you have dreams like that on the Camino Portuguese, I don't know if it's different at different times of the year, but it just looks really, really rough to me. So I will be checking in tomorrow with day 3 and some more details on this Camino. We have just completed our 3rd day of the Camino, and yes, I'm looking a bit rough. It was a long day, and I really need my hair washed, but I wanted to give you guys like the true experience of what a peregrino looks like and how she suffers with dirty hair. So last night, just going back to last night, before I spoke with you guys, I was so close to like 40,000 steps. I was at like 34,000. So I decided that I'm gonna go for the record. I'm gonna get the 40,000 steps. So last night I was walking around on the beach, which was so spectacular and beautiful. It was just after sunset. It was just getting dark, and I was barefoot in the sand, in the water, and it was just absolutely amazing. And surprisingly, I woke up very refreshed this morning. We had a quick breakfast at the hotel, nothing too exciting. We snuck a couple of little sandwiches into our bags, learning from yesterday's mistakes when we were quite hungry and we couldn't find any food. And then we drove by car. We were gonna start in Esposenda. God, I have such a hard time with these city names. So we were going to start in Esposenda and walk to Viana do Costello. And that would have been like 28.5 kilometers. So we decided to cut it a little bit shorter. And I was also reading that from Esposenda, there are not a lot of signs and it's easy to get lost, and you kind of have to walk on the road. So we decided to kind of skip that part, especially since we saw Esposenda yesterday. And we drove to Bellinho, and I parked at the Bellinho church, and we started walking from there. Now, there was some concern. Some people were saying that this route is not signposted very well and issues like that, but we didn't run into that at all. And they say this is the most beautiful stretch of the Camino Portuguese. And I have to agree with this. I mean, this was spectacular today. We walked through forests, we walked through cobblestone little villages, we saw beautiful rivers, little waterfall. It was little bridges that we had to cross over the river, which I hear when it's raining and muddy, this would not be a really nice place to cross. But today was a beautiful weather, a nice cool breeze again, and it was absolutely spectacular. It felt amazing to walk through the woods. It was just so refreshing and beautiful. And we came across this little kiosk. It was like in the back of these fields, and it was in the back of someone's house. You see this little tent, and there were like things hanging off of it and Portuguese flags waving in the wind. And we had a look inside, and there was all these little things placed outside for the peregrinos. And they were like bananas, oranges, and apples. And there was an espresso machine where you can make your own coffee and tea. And there were all kinds of different snacks. There was even sangrias and beer. And they were selling handbags. But there was nobody attending to this little kiosk. You could go in there, sit down. There was even a lounger if you wanted to lie down for a little bit. You can help yourself to whatever you want, and it was on a donation basis. How cool is that? I mean, how many places in the world can you do something like this and leave this thing unattended and trust that people will only take what they need and leave you the money for this? So I thought that was really cool. But even otherwise, you know, on the Camino, things are really cheap. Like, for example, today we stopped in this little restaurant, and this is very typical of the prices. And they had like breaded fried chicken with French fries and a Fanta for $5. Super cheap. So whenever we stop for like even coffees and soft drinks or cappuccino, we pay like 2-3 euros for everything for the three of us. So it's super cheap. But I thought this was such a cool idea. I really enjoyed this. Now, as we were passing these little villages, first of all, today was much better for finding little restaurants and cafes to stop in. It was much better than from yesterday. So there was lots of opportunities to stop, to rest, to have a coffee, to have an ice cream. So even though we packed lunches, it wasn't really necessary today. We could have easily found a nice place to have lunch. There were a lot more peregrinos on the route today, so it was a more authentic experience. It was super nice, and you know, we tried to chat with a few people, met some not so friendly Americans. Of course, the talk went straight to politics, as it normally does. And yeah, we met some cool people. We didn't talk to them too long, but it was nice to just say hello and chat a little bit with the other pilgrims. Now, we also came across this place that's called Senora do Castro. It's mount and chapel from the 16th century. And there's this huge, long set of stairs that lead up to the little tiny church at the top. Now, this is when you can see the true pilgrims from the fake pilgrims, because the true pilgrims will walk up those stairs to this chapel, which I did. And I was the only one. Everyone else was sitting at the bottom having their sandwiches and watching me go up the stairs. But I did it, and it was amazing. Definitely worth it for the view. It was spectacular. Now, as we were crossing over, there was one part where you had to walk on the road quite a bit, which we didn't really enjoy. And there were, you know, cars passing, and you're trying to jump out of the way, and that wasn't the best part. And this is as you're getting closer to Viana do Castelo. So as we descended from the mountain down into Viana do Castelo, and we saw that there's this really long bridge that you need to cross, and it's very narrow for the pedestrians. These are my cheat notes. For the pedestrians, it's very narrow, and my mom's afraid of heights and everything, so we were not really looking forward to that. But in the distance, we saw this incredible, beautiful church on the top of the mountain, which we were captivated by. So, of course, you know, what does the universe do? Drops a taxi in front of us. So I went to the taxi driver, and I asked if he could drive across the bridge so my mom doesn't have to walk. And then my father had the idea, well, then take us up to the church at the top of the mountain. Because we knew we were just too tired. We were almost at like 30,000 steps already, walking all day, that we would not have the strength to actually walk up to that church. And he drove us right up to the top. Now, the taxi driver is a little bit crazy here. They drive like, you know, I'm like, please stop, make it stop. And but it was the most spectacular view from there, guys. It's just beautiful. You can see for miles, and the church itself was so beautiful. Totally worth it. And then there's a funicular that you can take down, which wasn't working, but I already said that I'm gonna walk down from there. It's 187 meters high, so it's not too bad. And we actually made it down in like 10-15 minutes. It was pretty fast. And I even carried my mom some of the way, you know, because she was getting tired. And, you know, what's a good daughter to do? I had to carry her for a bit. And so we walked all the way down and had a quick look at the town, which was also really beautiful, but we were getting quite tired. And, you know, my parents are 71, so you don't want to push them too much. And we decided to take a taxi back to where we left the car. Just a few points that I wanted to mention to you guys. You know, you need to have your pilgrim passport, and you can have this stamped in various different places, in bars, restaurants, hotels, places along the way. Now, we are 3 days in, and we have not had the opportunity to actually pick up a passport. So that's a bit disturbing. And so my mom, she just grabbed some paper and she was getting the stamps on a piece of paper, which is not really the same kind of experience. You can get the passport like tourist offices. I'm not sure really where else, because we haven't been able to find anywhere else, but the tourist offices, whenever we pass them, they're closed. It's either too early or too late, so we don't have a passport, which is okay because this is our second time walking. I don't know if we'll get a Compostela again, maybe not. It's not really necessary to get it the second time around. But if you're walking for the first time, then the Compostela and the stamps and everything will be really important for you. And you need to walk 100 kilometers. You need to prove that you walked 100 kilometers on the Camino to get your Compostela. So you want to make sure that you organize getting your passport before you start this journey, because like I said, you may not be able to find it. You might have to go into a tourist office in Porto if you're walking from Porto before you even start, and make sure you have this so that you can collect your stamps. I think this is, otherwise you'll be really, really disappointed. I know my parents are a bit disappointed. I'm not too bothered about it. And yeah, I think that's all I had for today for you guys. Now we're probably gonna get hungry, so I'm not sure if we're gonna walk out into town and look around. And tomorrow is gonna be another exciting day. We're switching from the coastal Camino to the central Camino, so we're gonna be driving inland and going to our next destination, to our next hotel, which is supposed to be a really special one. I'll try to film it for you guys. And we will take a taxi back and start walking forward, and we'll stay 2 nights there and then walk forward, take a taxi back. So the same thing, the same setup that we had here. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. This is our 4th day walking on the Camino, and I wanted to do a quick summary outside instead of doing it in the hotel room every night. So what we did today, we drove from our hotel to near Valença to this beautiful little quinta where we're staying, and then we took a taxi back. We tried to take it back about 20 kilometers to start our walk from there. And the driver was very nice. He was telling us about this huge mountain that he recommended for us not to go over. It's called La Bruja, which means witch in Spanish, so I'm assuming it's something very similar to in Portuguese as well. And we heard rumors that some people, peregrinos, cross this mountain never to be seen again. So that sounded very scary. I'm joking, of course, don't take this seriously. But anyway, we decided to skip La Bruja, and then we found out from other peregrinos that it's not so bad at all. And it wasn't like what our driver said, it's not like 20 kilometers all uphill. Some people told us it was like 40 minutes, so it was not a big deal. But anyway, we skipped that mountain, and our driver told us where he dropped us off, it's all downhill, and we'll be in the finca or the quinta in 17 kilometers. So instead of being all downhill, our thing was all uphill for an hour straight. It was pretty crazy, but it was a beautiful hike, and we were a bit worried that it's going to be all through mountains the whole time, and it actually wasn't. And we've been walking through some beautiful trails, have seen some beautiful waterfalls. What else have we seen? Farms and forests, and we met a lot of peregrinos from America, from Canada, from Italy, from all over. We chatted with some people, we stopped for some coffees, for some ice cream, and so we met some amazing people, and we finally got our passport. We have our Peregrino passport that we're getting stamped in every place that we can. And what else can I tell you guys? The food, I wanted to talk about the food. The Portuguese food is amazing. Make sure you eat as much as you can here. We have this race on with the family to see who can gain the most weight during the Camino. So let's see how that goes. And the other thing I wanted to warn you guys about is that a lot of people here in Portugal do not speak English. So if you don't speak any other languages, you're gonna have a really tough time. I'm getting by with my Spanish. Usually they can understand my Spanish and then respond in Portuguese, which I can understand as well. But it's very challenging. A lot of the restaurants don't have menus in English at all. It's only in Portuguese. So if you have some kind of an app that you can download, or the Google Translator or something, that will come in really handy. Even communicating with the taxi drivers, you would think they're driving peregrinos all day that they would speak English, but they don't. And not even in the bars, in the restaurants. So, you know, it can be a real challenge if you only speak English. Make sure you have a good translator app downloaded on your phone so that you can communicate with everyone. So we have about another hour and a half
on today's hike, and the 17 kilometers will be turning into like 25 kilometers, as it is with every single day. So whatever kilometers you are told or you see, it's never accurate. It's always much more than that. So we're going to be we're going to be over 30,000 steps again today. So about 24, 25 kilometers. We booked a beautiful dinner at the Quinta where we're staying. The restaurant is supposed to be amazing. So we're looking forward to that. And then pretty much the day is done, and I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. So this is my day 5 recap. It's going to be a little bit brief today. Not that much happened today. We were trying to take it easy a little bit. It didn't really work out that way. We ended up doing still 30,000 steps and over 20 kilometers. So we started the day walking the Camino from this beautiful Quinta where we're staying, right on the Camino path. And we walked to Valencia. The walk itself was nothing at first, through forest, which was kind of okay. And then we were walking through the outskirts of the city. But the downtown area, the old town of Valencia, is absolutely beautiful. It's like an old fort on top of a hill, and all full of little shops and bakeries, cafes, restaurants. It was really, really beautiful. And from there, we walked over the bridge from Portugal to Spain. And it was a beautiful, long bridge over this beautiful Minho River. I hope I got that right. And we walked over to Tui. Tui is a very beautiful city, but we kind of missed most of Tui because instead of going up through the Camino, we decided to walk along the river, which was such a beautiful path. And one of the peregrinos told us you can also go that way, and it was flat, so we decided to go that way and had some fun along the way, along the river. And then we decided we didn't really want to do that much more walking today, but we still wanted to visit Oporino. So we grabbed a taxi and we drove to Oporino, which was a little bit of a disappointment. There really wasn't that much going on. It was already siesta time in Spain, so the shops were closed. We didn't really find anything open. It was just like one main street that you can kind of walk on, like a pedestrian street, but there wasn't really that much to see. We had like a quick lunch of a couple of tapas, and then we decided to take the taxi back to Valencia, and then we were doing a reverse Camino. So we were trying to do the Camino backwards, back to our accommodations, to the Quinta, and that didn't work out too well because we didn't find the signs. It's much more difficult to do it backwards. We didn't find the signs, we got lost, and then we followed Google Maps to get back to our accommodations, and it was kind of all over the place. We were walking along the highway on this dirt path, and it wasn't the nicest of walks, but we made it back. It rained, sprinkled just a little bit today, but as you can see now, the sun is out again. We are definitely not having dinner tonight. We've been eating way too much, so we need to slow down a little bit with that. And so yeah, the rest day kind of turned into a very, very busy day, and we are truly exhausted with 5 days down. If you're doing the Camino, leave rest days here and there. I think that's really important. So I will be checking in with you guys tomorrow. This is day 6 on the Camino. My parents decided to take a rest day today. So I'm walking from Redondela to Pontevedra. It's going to be about 23 kilometers today. And there are a lot more peregrinos on this route. I can see that already. We're about 85 kilometers from Santiago. So hopefully it's going to be a nice day. Here's my day 6 recap of my solo Camino day where I walked without my parents. So today was a bit of a tough day. I decided to just walk straight through. I didn't take any breaks, where with my parents we take quite frequent takes. My dad likes to eat like every hour on the hour, so I wasn't a fan of that, and I decided to just keep going. Even the sandwich that I bought this morning, I just ate it on the way. But what a nice treat this sandwich was. I have to tell you guys about this fresh baguette, just like fresh out of the oven, and they grilled some chicken breast for me. They put the chicken breast on it, cheese, mayonnaise, onions, tomatoes, and lettuce, and this giant sandwich was $4, and that kept me sustained the whole day. It was amazing. And I walked through some beautiful scenery today, crossed like two and a half mountainish places, so there was a lot of uphill, went around some beautiful creeks, and then at one point I kind of was confused by the signage.
I was walking this way and there was a sign towards Camino that way, and then to cross the road and then go back the opposite direction. So I was a little bit confused, and I asked the lady and she told me, no, don't go that way. Go down to the sea, cross this bridge, go to the left, go to the right. There's a beautiful river, walk along there, and it's much shorter and it's much nicer, and it like connects you with another Camino, because there's lots of Caminos crossing here. So I said, okay, well, we'll try that. So I went down to the river and to the sea, and it was actually really, really beautiful down there, but it didn't connect to my Camino. So I was lost. There was no signage, there was nothing. So I kept asking around and I kept walking along the river, and finally I saw like an old Roman bridge where I saw the peregrinos passing by. So I thought, okay, finally I found my way. You can't really get lost on the Camino because wherever you go, that's your path, right? So I joined up with the others. This Camino was quite busy today, this stretch of the Camino, because now we're into the last 100 kilometers towards Santiago. So a lot more people are starting here. This is their starting point. So there were groups, there were families, there were lots of women, you know, my age and older, walking by themselves. There was one stretch where you had to walk along the road, which I didn't like at all. And these big, huge trucks are just passing by you going 100 kilometers an hour. They nearly knock you over and there's nowhere to go. Just this tiny, small shoulder on the road. So that's really, really uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy that part, but the rest was really beautiful, especially the last part where you just like walking along this beautiful creek. And it was a really hot day today, so it was really nice when I was in the forest and I was in the shade. That was like the best part. Nothing else really to report. I haven't seen Pontevedra. My parents spent today, instead of resting, they were supposed to be resting. They probably did as many steps as I did walking the Camino, but they were walking around town, which is supposed to be beautiful. So I'm going to try to regain my strength, have a nice shower, change out of my Camino clothes, and go see the city. I did, I think, 34,000 steps for today. It was supposed to be only 18 kilometers, 18 and a half, and it turned out to be 23. So never, ever, ever trust what they tell you for the mileage. It's always wrong. It's always a lot more than that. And you really mentally have to prepare for that, because if you're only thinking, oh, 18K, I could do that, no worries at all. And then when you get to 18K, you're still so far from your destination, that gets really, really frustrating. So I'm off to have a nice shower. See you guys tomorrow. Here's our day 7 Camino recap. First of all, last night was such a beautiful evening, and I decided to go for a massage and then still walk around the town in Pontevedra. And it was absolutely beautiful. There was music playing everywhere. All the restaurants were full and there were just people everywhere. The atmosphere was amazing. So I really enjoyed walking around, and I ended up with like 47,000 steps for yesterday, very close to 50,000, which was, I don't even know, 35 kilometers. So that was like a new record for me, which felt pretty cool. But at 10 o'clock, I was like dead to the world. I was asleep, fast asleep. And we got up really early this morning. I was up at 4 and we were on the road by 7, which was great because it was so nice and cool. There was a beautiful full moon, and that was lighting our way because it was still completely dark. The sun only comes up around 8:30. It's the end of September. It's going to be October tomorrow. So the sun comes up quite late, and we were just walking with all the peregrinos in the fog, in the dark, under the full moon. It was really cool. And my parents, of course, came with me today. I offered them the choice of, you know, taking a taxi to catch up with me a little bit later, but they wanted to come with me from the beginning. It was a very long day, but we were super lucky because it was mostly flat. So we were walking from Pontevedra to Calda de Reis, and it was almost flat the whole entire time. And because we left so early, we were able to do the majority of our walk while it was still really cool, and it wasn't so bad. It only started getting hot later on in the day, and then it was kind of, the heat was unbearable. It was 34 degrees today, and just, you know, in the scorching sun. There wasn't as much walking through the woods today as yesterday, which was really nice and refreshing during my walk yesterday. We did walk through some woods, we walked through some really nice fields, we walked through some pretty towns, but the Camino today, guys, was so packed. It was so busy, like you didn't have a moment to yourself. it was always just move out of the way for this person, that person. It's also Saturday. There were a lot of bikes on the road and a lot of locals just riding their bikes, enjoying a Saturday afternoon. So it was super busy. It wasn't like the tranquil, relaxing Camino experience at all, sadly. And when we stopped in the bars to like have a drink or a little snack or go to the bathroom, you would have to line up for hours to get something to eat, to go to the bathroom. So that part was a little bit frustrating. But we arrived in Cal de Reis in about 6 hours of walking in total, but it was about 7.5, 8 hours with all the stops and everything that we did. And the little town is really pretty. There's an old Roman bridge and a little waterfall, and actually there's a waterfall along the way on this route which we didn't get to see because it's a bit of a diversion. You have to go like 700 meters out of the way both ways, so we didn't do that. We might stop with the car tomorrow. But yeah, Cal de Reis is really pretty. Everything was closed sadly because it was siesta time, but we found a nice little restaurant. We had some we ordered salads, and there were 2 huge salads. It was just too hot to eat anything else at this point. And then we took a taxi back. So we'll see how it goes tonight, if we still gain some strength to go out and walk around town, because Pontevedra I just love. And we called the masseur from yesterday, the massage therapist, to come and give all 3 of us a massage today because we desperately need it. And tomorrow we might actually take a break and take a little diversion off the Camino and go to La Toja, which is an island off the coast. It looks really, really beautiful. So we have a hotel booked there tomorrow, and we will see if we'll do some walking in the meantime, or maybe I'll get up early tomorrow morning and walk from Cal de Reis to Padron, which will be the next segment. And after that, we only have 1 segment left to Santiago. So we are 190 kilometers into our walk after 7 days. So that's pretty cool. I'm very impressed. I'm sure this is a record for all 3 of us, that we've never walked consistently this many steps and kilometers, you know, one day after another. This was brutal, but we are super proud. So welcome to day 8 of our Camino adventures. Look at this beautiful place where we are. I'm gonna turn this around so you can actually see me. And I'm gonna sit down on this rock. I'll be going into the sea very, very shortly. Here we are. See if it'll stand in the sand. Okay guys, so today is going to be a break day for me and for my parents. Yesterday, last night, after I did the video for you guys, I kept walking. I walked another 4 hours. So I ended up doing 50,000 steps yesterday. I wanted to break my earlier record of, I think it was 47,000 steps the day before. So I did almost 100,000 steps in 2 days, which I think is crazy. But I'm so proud of myself. You know, at 53, I feel like I can do anything, like I'm invincible. It was an amazing, amazing feeling. No soreness today. Can you believe it? I wasn't sore at all. And today we're taking a little detour. We are on the island, beautiful island of La Toja in Galicia. There's a bridge that comes across it. And we're in this beautiful, beautiful hotel, this old style hotel with incredible views to the sea, right on the water. And today we went down. I had a salt scrub. I had, they have hot spring water running into the spa in the hotel. So I had a 20-minute bath in that. And after that, I had an hour-long massage, which was so good. It felt amazing. My body really needed that. And now what I did is I decided to walk down to the sea by myself. There's nobody at the beach. I'm the only one here. It's quiet and amazing. I can hear the birds. And I'm going to have a nice swim and probably walk around the island a little bit. I still want to do some steps. But, you know, basically today is for rest and relaxation. And then we have 2 more segments of the Camino left, which we will start tomorrow. Today was our 8th and second last day of walking the Camino de Santiago, the Portuguese Way. And the real challenge has not been the walks, but trying to find good lighting to film my videos in the hotel rooms. That's been the real challenge. So today we left the beautiful island of La Toja, and we got up really early. I was up at 4, and we drove first to Cal de Reis, where we needed to continue our Camino from. And when we got there, it was pitch dark, total darkness, black, everything. We just couldn't start walking because it was too dark, especially to go into the forest and stuff. And then we decided to take my parents 7 kilometers up the road, up the route, so they wouldn't have to walk quite as much as I would today. And it was still really dark and still everything was closed. So we decided to drive all the way to Padron, which was our destination for the day. We parked the car there and we had a quick breakfast. The options were pretty much toast and nothing else, so we had a toast. And then we grabbed a taxi, and with the taxi we dropped my parents off a bit sooner, and then they drove me to Caldas de Reis, where I started walking about 8:30 in the morning. It was already packed on the Camino. Very, very busy day today for me. Not as busy for my parents because they were ahead, but it was just constant. Everybody was talking around you. There wasn't really a peaceful moment. I found it a little bit disturbing. I kept trying to pass the same people over and over again. I was trying to slow down, but at the same time, I felt like this push that I need to catch up with my parents and not leave them waiting in Padron for too long without me. So I did my best. I went as fast as I could. So I did the whole walk in 4 hours, which was 20 kilometers today. And I was walking through some cornfields, some wild chestnut forests that were very pretty. We walked along the road and even the highway for a little bit. That wasn't so nice. And then going into Padron, it was, the industrial part of the city. That wasn't very nice. But the beautiful old town more than made up for it. Beautiful churches and nice pedestrian streets and everything. And my parents were waiting for me in a bar where they ordered, I think, a coffee and a water. And they got like free sandwiches to go with that, and free potatoes, but like these really neat potatoes that were like really tasty with spices and stuff like that. And we saw on other tables also these people had they only ordered water and they got the same kind of treat, so that was quite amazing. So we've completed the walk and then we drove our car to Santiago because this is where we're staying for the last 2 nights, and then tomorrow is our last day. I will take a taxi back to Padron and then we will walk to Santiago and finish off our Camino. So it was beautiful today. Definitely not one of the most beautiful walks. It was a bit monotone, not too exciting, but let's see how the walk will be tomorrow, our final day. I can't believe we're already there, and this will be our 9th day walking tomorrow. Today is the final day of my Camino, and I decided a different approach today. I'm going to slow down a little bit. Look at my new friend. I decided I'm going to slow down. I'm going to enjoy the sights. I've been racing through the past 9 days, trying to beat all my own records, trying to get ahead of my parents, trying to beat everyone else. Look at this guy. So today, I'm going to smell the roses, enjoy the view. I know it's my last day. I have the whole day ahead of me, so I have plenty of time to get into Santiago. I'm walking through some beautiful, beautiful villages. Look at this place right now. And some beautiful fields, meeting some amazing people. Look at this lady in the traditional Galician dress. She's so beautiful. We took a photo together in the cornfields. And I'm savoring every moment. I can't believe that it's coming to an end. I'm a bit sad. I dropped my parents off again a bit earlier, so they have about 6 or 7 kilometers less to walk than I have. I forgot my selfie stick, my tripod today, so it's a bit difficult to film. And with this crazy cat, she just won't leave me alone. She's such a cutie. There's another one there as well. So I will do a final update when I arrive in Santiago at the cathedral, which will be the highlight of this incredibly beautiful journey. Should I take her home? What do you guys think? We did it, guys. We made it. We are finally in Santiago. We completed our walk in 10 days. With one rest day, we did 271 kilometers, 427,000 steps. So averaging over 40,000 steps a day, which is absolutely incredible. Definitely the most challenging, hardest thing that I've done in my life. And the sense of accomplishment is absolutely amazing. It felt so good to get to the cathedral, get our photos taken there. My parents made it a little bit before me, so we weren't able to get photos together, but luckily we got them just in case the day before with the beautiful sunshine and everything. And what can I tell you guys? If you're thinking about doing the Camino, just do it.
You know, it's an incredible experience. If you have a loved one that you can share it with, even better. And just don't miss this opportunity. Definitely train for it. You know, make sure you're fit enough to handle it. It's tough. It's not easy. And, you know, even if you're able to go hiking for 20 kilometers, but it's very, very difficult to get up and do it again the next day, do it again the next day, do it again the next day. But, you know, also, if you're not able to do that much, you can do 10K a day. There's no set limit that you need to do every single day. You can do it at your own pace. That's the nice thing. There are agencies that can help you organize your trip. They can carry your luggage for you. So it can be a nice, pleasurable, and easy experience, still with some suffering. It'll never be like the movie The Way, in case you guys watch that, where they show the Camino as this leisurely walk, and it's just, you know, there's nothing to it. It's not like that. It's challenging. It's hard. Every day is hard. Every bone in your body is going to be aching. Every muscle is going to be sore. And then the next morning, you got to keep going and going and going. But it's an opportunity of a lifetime. So if you have the chance, I highly, highly recommend it. Thank you for following me and us on this beautiful journey. If you're still watching, I know this is going to be a super long video, but I hopefully brought you some interesting photos and videos and some interesting information. And if you have any question at all for me about the whole experience, then please feel free to ask below. I'm happy to help and point you in the right direction. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and buen camino.